Hello, everybody. This is Chuck Parker at PBS Hawaiʻi. I'm the Vice President of Content here. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for this exclusive event featuring a sneak preview of the PBS Hawaiʻi film presents film, The Adventures of Super CW. The film you saw just now, you just watched this a few moments ago, premieres on our broadcast Thursday night, February 22nd at 8:30 p.m. It'll repeat on Sunday at 1 p.m. if you miss it, but you can always go to our YouTube page at PBS Hawaiʻi and our website at pbshawaiʻi.org, where the film will be going forward for a couple years at least. On your screen, there's a QR code. Please consider a gift to PBS Hawaiʻi. Thanks to viewers like you, we can continue to provide free virtual screenings like this and other events as we go forward. Joining me this afternoon for our Q&A is Gerard Elmore, who is the producer and director of the films, and Flash Hansen, super friend of Super CW, Christa Wittmier. So go ahead and send in some of your questions. We'll get to those as soon as we can, but I have a couple to start with for you. So Gerard and Flash, and Gerard, we'll start with you. Just talk about, if you can, the inspiration behind the film.
Yeah, I guess I'll start and Flash could kind of fill in the blanks because there were a lot of people who were already working on the film. And with Christa, she was documenting everything. So a lot of friends were chipping in to shoot to sort of document this journey that she was on. And she was just shooting, collecting in hopes of creating a movie. And I was sort of the last person with the baton, handed all the footage, and Christa said, please make it into a movie. So that's kind of like how I got involved. And of course, I said, I will get it done. I will get it done because everyone else tapped out, and I was like, I'm it. I will see it to the end, and I will make sure that it gets finished, Christa. Like I promise you, and that's how I got involved.
Flash, how about you?
I mean, this whole thing was her idea, right? And this was, I think it's a lot more commonplace. I mean, watching this now, it seems so normal now, everyone filming everything, but back when she was doing this, it really just started documenting it all for her Snapchat on her phone. And then at some point she realized, this could be a movie. So it was all her idea. And it was just, the foresight she had to do it and how uncomfortable and vulnerable she was to put herself in that position was, I mean, that's part of what makes the film so powerful. But like everything else, it was all her idea to begin with.
Of course.
Well, actually, I want to take that thought a little further. So what, challenges in making the film, all the way through the film, you see where, this is a tough topic and a tough situation for Christa, where she's suffering, sometimes physically, sometimes mentally, sometimes emotionally, sometimes all of the above. It must have been difficult to keep the camera rolling when you really feel like helping her, or just stopping rolling the camera. And how did you navigate that? And Flash, I know you were involved in a lot of that.
Yeah, at first, I mean, Gerard is like a professional filmmaker. But at first, before there was any filmmakers involved, it was literally just her and her phone. And I was, in the beginning, the only person going into her doctor's appointments with her. And she would just turn to me and hand me her phone and say, whatever happens, I just want you to film it. And I disagreed. I didn't even think that should be happening initially. I understood why she was wanting to do it, but I just thought it was too personal and too raw. I was just felt protective of her, but I understood why she wanted to do it, and I understood the good intention behind it. Initially it was hard for me, but like anything else, yeah, there was times when you put the camera down or you want to hug her or whatever, and she would just be like, no, just keep filming. So it's like weird. It's like I had to it's like she's forcing you to disconnect as her friend and, just turns you into the camera person to some degree. But we did it so much over such a long period of time that like anything else, you just get used to it. And oddly enough, you get used to connecting with another human while you're holding a device and recording it too. It was all just sort of super weird. Again, a lot more comfortable today, but we're talking about when this started, almost 10 years ago. It was a little different back then.
So who selected the title?
That was me. That was me. Because Super CW always thought sounded like a superhero. And I think it was a little bit of talking it out with Reese, who made the poster and the key art. And I just thought like the structure of it being like an origin story of Christa, So the origin story of Christa, and there's the poster.
Thank you, Flash.
But yeah, just making it more like a superhero journey, but also like an origin story of who is Christa, who is Super CW, because everyone called her Super CW. So let's find out why. Like it's the whole origin story, the whole arc of like a superhero, and we just thought it was fun. She wanted something fun and not something so serious. So yeah.
And as you folks mentioned earlier, there was a lot of you folks started it, or it was a few people that started, and then there was a lot of people contributing in terms of video that they shot on their cell phones or other ways. And so, Gerard, when you get handed all of this volume of material, how did you even begin? To sit through that and come up with the story you did.
It was really tough. I mean, because there were multiple videographers, multiple friends with stuff. And then there's Christa's, of course, her Snapchat, which we took a lot of and used a lot of her Snapchat because that was like probably the best perspective. It was her telling the story. But we had multiple editors. We had Kyle Kasaki. We also had Nick Stone, who really put the basic foundation down and did a lot of the heavy lifting. So he was able to kind of put some pieces together where I was like, oh, we could finally see that the Snapchat's going to work. Because the Snapchat was kind of off to the side at first, because me as a filmmaker, I wanted it to look nice and pretty. And so you see a lot of the more cinematic B-roll that's throughout. And initially I wanted that to kind of be the look of it, but I knew that was the wrong approach. It needed to be in Christa's voice. So we made her Snapchat the foundation of the film. And then there's a bunch of interviews where she's going through all the points of the film. And so the interviews came after going through all the footage and interviews so I could connect the dots, anything that was missing in the Snapchat. And sometimes you see it connecting to the Snapchat. So a lot of that had to be threaded all together, to make the movie what it is.
Cool. Flash, you're visible throughout part of the film, supporting Christa, which is what friends do, but that's not easy. Can you talk a little bit about that effort, why it's so important, for friends to be there for cancer patients?
Before Christa's battle with cancer, my dad went through a battle with cancer, and I remember one of the things he told me was absolutely the most important thing. He said, more important than going to the hospital or medicine or chemo or any of that stuff, was just the support and love of your family and your friends. So I sort of had that in the back of my head going in. Having said that, anybody that any of us care about and love, if and when the time comes for you to be there, you're going to be there. And at first it was a little hard because initially I was doing stuff with her that she wasn't sharing yet with everyone. Even though sometimes she would be filming stuff, she wasn't like putting it out in the world quite yet. So sometimes I sort of knew what was going on, but I couldn't really talk to other people about it. So in a way, it was a relief when she started sharing things a lot more openly.
Well, we got a comment here from the audience, Miss Catwings. Flash, thank you for being there for Christa all that time. Hearing you talk about the process of filming just sounds like Christa, always wanting to help people. And actually, while we're on this, Flash, I just want to bring attention for folks on the scene here. What you have behind you, some memorabilia of Christa.
Yeah, there was actually this shot is in the film. Her good good vibes only. And she used to come by my office every week and record a show. So one week she brought her own coffee cup because she would always steal my coffee. So
You can't borrow coffee, right?
yeah, there's a bunch of stuff up here that's from her, and I have a bunch of her artwork in my office. And
What's that
yeah.
hanging on your chair?
Oh yes, the Super CW. I don't know if you guys can see that. Super CW strong. Can you see that? There we go. Girl Gang. I was the only guy to get the Girl Gang hoodie.
That sounds like a coup. Very good.
But it's funny because she used to come into my office and record her show with us here at the iHeartRadio studios. Sometimes I wouldn't even be in my office, and she would leave little Post-it notes for me. Because we would be like ships passing in the night. We would be in the same building, but I wouldn't see her. So she would always leave these cute little Post-its on my desk or in and around my computer and stuff. But she was always leaving little trinkets and presents for me. And sometimes she wouldn't even tell me. I would just have to find it later on.
Oh, that's cool. It's a great memory. Thanks for sharing. Another comment here from Tracy Chan. Joy and tears. Thank you to everyone involved in this beautiful documentary. I echo that. Question from Como, Hawaii. What was one life lesson that CW imparted that changed how you approach life to this day? I'm going to start with you, Gerard.
That's an easy one. I remember, finishing this film and being able to get it to Christa before she passed, to see it. And the one thing she just kept saying over and over again is, "Don't be sad. Don't be sad. Don't be sad." And being able to finish it and give it to her was one of my proudest moments in my life, because it was able to share her work with her. And it gave me an enormous amount of joy knowing that. And the one thing that I took away from the film, the process also with Christa, is that we need to embrace life and live it to its fullest. And I know we've heard that before, but I finally got it, through the process of doing this and being, what, a lot of bad stuff happens and continues to happen throughout our lives. But there's always going to be good moments, and we need to embrace those moments, and not the bad ones. And if anything, I feel like that was the big lesson I learned from Christa, and also through the process of making this film. Like, watching it after all these years, it means that her voice, she lasts forever. Her stories forever. Her joys forever. And we can all give that to one another by how we live. And she chose to live it, full of happiness and joy. Oh, I don't know how that happened, but
That wasn't me, but
that wasn't me either.
Nice timing, whoever did that. Flash, to you, same question. What was one life lesson that CW imparted that changed how you approach life?
I don't know if I learned anything new, because we had been friends for so long. Just everything she did after she got cancer the first time was just exactly, she handled it exactly how she handled everything. But it is, one really important lesson I think everyone could take away from this is exactly what Gerard said, which is just to embrace life and to live it. I can remember many times when she thought she might only have a month or 2 months to live, and she's like, "I'm jumping on a plane and going to Coachella," or "I'm going to this weird EDM festival in Mexico that no one's ever heard of." And some people would be like, "Oh, that's crazy," and I understood why she was doing it. And of course she said, "No, well, like, what's the point of living if I'm not going to go enjoy myself and enjoy life and what it has to offer, and all the more so if I only have a month left to live." Another big lesson, especially watching it now with some 2020 hindsight, is just to never give up.
One of the more touching, poignant sub-stories in the film is Christa reuniting with her father. Gerard, either one, you can talk about that a little?
Yeah, it's mentioned in the film, and when Krista initially approached me, she mentioned about her dad. Like that was on her list of things to wrap up in her life, that she never made contact with her dad, and there was a lot of reasons why she didn't. And I think through talking with Kristen, we're like, maybe you should meet your dad. We should film that, and that should be a part of the film. And so um, we went through the process of making that happen, getting him to come here. I think we used a portion of the budget to fly him out here and make that happen. And she says it in the film. It was like, getting my affairs in order, and I need to make sure that I talk to my dad. And so that process became kind of an important one to her, and just being able to actually tell her dad and show her dad like how successful she's been, and all the great stuff she's done, and wanted to share this, just meet him and share time. And it was one of her most important moments in her life. And in the film, it just felt like a natural way to wrap it up as well. Like kind of this, one of the things she needed to do in life, and then like wrapping it up at the end of the film. And it was very touching. And it's also his narration in the film, narrating her letter to him. And so that was all very organic. She reached out, with a letter, and he responded, and we followed through with it. And it became kind of integral to the story. And I think just integral to Krista, and just kind of like wrapping things up, and wrapping up, a lot of things that she wanted to do.
Flash, any more on that?
It's just one thing, I'm just listening to Gerard answer, and I'm like, if she never got cancer, I don't know if she ever would have reconnected with her dad up until this point.
Yeah.
And she realized there was the way that she looked at things. She looked like she got a lot of gifts out of getting diagnosed, and one of those gifts was that giving her that impetus and motivation to reconnect with her father that she may have otherwise not have. And it was a good reminder for her and for all of us that you really can make lemonade out of lemons with almost anything.
We have another question from one of our viewers here. So why is it important to tell stories like this? Either one.
Yeah, either one of us.
I'll let the professional.
I'm a professional. Well, I kind of started to answer it, but I think with documentary films or filmmaking in general, I think people may not realize the power of it sometimes. That because of this story, and I mentioned it before, because it's documented and because it's on PBS Hawaiʻi, it is going to live on. It's going to have Krista's voice and story live on forever. And it's important, especially this story and Krista's story, is because there's going to be a lot of people dealing with this. As you heard, the statistics are not in our favor that it will touch someone in our lives when we in our life. It's going to happen. And so hearing the story of how someone tackled it and how someone went through it, and also like some of the things that people may experience as well, like depression. And it may not be related to cancer, but just a lot of people deal with depression in their lives. And how do you break through from that? And how do you break through all of that to get back to enjoying life? I think because Krista was so open with that, it's going to lead to people being able to talk about their struggles. And I think, again, this medium is so powerful because it is documented, and it's there, and now we get to share it with everyone. It's not just me and Flash in the room, it's going to be everyone that knew Krista, and now there's new people getting to meet Krista, and that means the world to me and Flash, and to all Krista's friends. That like my coworker was sitting here watching the film, and she was like, I never met her, I wish I did, and that's that's awesome. That's a world to us.
We have another question here I want to share, and actually I was going to get to this, so thank you to the person who submitted the question. Just Kane, I hope I said, or just Connie, not sure who the person is. Is her, meaning Christa, is her paper on her plan still available? Can we find it online or something? Thanks again for doing this. And just FYI, I mean, it'll be on our website on the landing page with the film, but I'll let you folks go, Flash, particularly, you know, on what did we call it? Krista's cancer plan of attack.
Yeah, cancer plan of attack. And you know, I think it's important to remember and to say this is a plan that was specific to her, that worked for her. And, you know, different kinds of cancer require different kinds of treatment, but there was just sort of the main thing of looking through that document, which I've looked at several times over the years, unfortunately, is just it's just a good guideline for anybody on how to deal with cancer. Not just the person that gets cancer, but their support system as well. And you really do have to sort of think of it like a team of people working together, sort of all rowing in the same direction. It was specific to her, but it really can apply to anybody to some degree with any type of cancer.
That's great. And as I said, it will be on our website. The film premieres on broadcast on Thursday. We'll make sure to have it on the page with the film when it premieres. I wanted to just read something real quick to you folks. Our mission here at PBS Hawaiʻi states, we advance learning and discovery through storytelling that profoundly touches lives. So the way you two and the rest of your team told the story is profound. I didn't know Christa before seeing this film. As I watched it, I honestly felt like she was going to make it. I came to like her, admire her, even love her for her energy, courage. And I still get choked up knowing she didn't make it. So did you folks achieve what you wanted to achieve, what Christa wanted to achieve in making the film?
Yeah, and I can answer that one, and I would say 100%, and this will go into kind of a meta thing, but absolutely 100%. As I said at the top, you know, with Flash kind of making sure it happened, the ultimate goal was to get this done, for her to see, for her to sign off. Like that was goal number one. Like it was absolute. We didn't know what her timeline was. We didn't know how much time we had. That was goal number one, making sure that she saw this. Like she put so much work into this, so much effort into this actual film. Like the goal to make sure she saw this in kind of like full form was absolutely important, and we achieved that. The second goal, which PBS Hawaiʻi is making, is actually doing right now, is that she dreamt of, just like her cancer plan of attack, but sharing this film out to the public, to as many people as possible. And through PBS Hawaiʻi, that dream has been realized today. And she's not here to see it, but I hope everyone knows that this is huge for her, for us, and that was our ultimate goal, which has happened now. And so, and in all respects, truly successful project.
We have a comment here from Sylvan Waller. So wonderful to see how she gave up at one point, but got back her spirit and motivation to live again. Thank you, CW, for being willing to share that, and for all of you for including it in the film. And I wanted to go to another question here, and I think, Flash, you might have a story. The closing song to this film is perfect for the film and for Christa. And when I heard it, it actually helped me get through the end of the film. You know, when I saw it initially. What's the story behind the song?
So that song was written by a fine young gentleman named Johnny Helm. He's a sort of local musician about town that a lot of people might know or recognize. He's just been playing all over town for years and years and years. And he's really only gotten a lot bigger since this story came out. He was playing at a gig at International Marketplace one day, and we had shown the like a rough cut of the movie or a portion of the movie somewhere, and we were 100 yards apart. He was in the middle of playing a song, and he stopped playing the song and he started calling my name. And it was just the weirdest thing ever. I mean, it was a busy restaurant. He's like, "Come here." So I go over to him, and he said, "You know, I didn't really know Christa very well." He said, "But I knew you guys were close. And I've just been, you know, watching her story unfold." Because remember, she's posting everything on Snapchat every day, and it was just getting a ton of social media traction. Um, and he said, "I am just so fascinated by her and inspired by her." And he goes, "I wrote this song for her," and he wrote it in like 36 hours, the words and the music. And he says, "I know it's weird because I didn't really know her all that well," but he says, in a way, that's what makes it even cooler, because that's just how much that she, you know, inspires other people. And he couldn't be more thrilled. I connected him with Gerard, and you know, I'm not in the filmmaking process. I didn't know or expect anything out of it, but I just said, "Hey, this is like really cool." And it was Gerard's decision to make it the final song in the film. And when you watch the documentary, it's just like, oh, of course, it's the perfect way to end it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree.
But
Go
And
ahead, Gerard, sorry.
oh yeah, no. I remember thinking, you know, I usually get handed music, and I'm like, yeah, you know, Krista, like, you know, she's, you know, she wants a certain vibe, you know, like she's very particular. I was like, yeah, yeah, and then I heard the lyrics in the song. I was like, oh, okay, I need to meet this guy. And I will tell everyone, because of this, I am now lifelong friends with Johnny Helm, who scores almost everything I work on, commercial, film, everything. Like, that attitude is who we are. And so, um, because of this film, you know, it's led to greater collaborations with Johnny, because he really does get it. And that song in particular was magic, and he put it on his album afterwards too. But it is a good theme song to Krista, and I kind of, it's one of those magic gifts we get because it's Krista.
You know,
it's
we're
just
coming to, oh, go
it's
ahead.
just
Sorry,
oh, I
Flash, go
just
ahead.
wanted to say, it's just so powerful that the closing song of that documentary was written by someone who didn't even know her really, other than like, and you know, waving hi across a bar or a nightclub, you know, a couple of times. But it just truly does speak to her power, and what she was able to inspire in people. I mean, it's truly incredible.
So I'm going to ask you guys, each of you, for final thoughts with this in mind. What do you miss most about Krista? And Gerard, why don't you go first?
I remember this question before, their pre-interview. um, Look, no one can replace her. No one can replace her and never will. She made a mark. She is a legend in the community, a pillar that we sorely miss. And I think that's evident by the support of people seeing the notice of this film and hearing about it after all these years and rallying around Krista again. And I don't think that's ever going to stop. And I miss her spirit. I miss her positivity. Um, I really do. I catch myself almost on a weekly basis just wondering, you know, and thinking about her. And just thinking like, I hope me personally, I did her proud with this, you know, and that I did the network of friends around her proud to do my best to show people how amazing and wonderful Krista was.
Thank you. Flash, any thoughts?
It's all right there in the documentary, right? I mean, how can you just not miss everything? And I truly do miss everything about her, all the time. She's, like I said, surrounding me in my office every day, and people still quote things that, her little catchphrases to me often, and it's really incredible how her memory has been kept alive almost as an oral history about town, the Coconut Wireless. And everyone, I think, would in general have the same answer that I do, that it truly is. Everybody misses everything about her. I mean, she was just the best ray of sunshine you could ever hope for.
Well, that's a great way to go out. One more comment from a viewer here from Charles Bowler. Exceptional film, which beautifully celebrates and documents CW and her huge vital impact on everyone with whom she ever interacted. Exclamation point on that comment. I agree completely. So this concludes our session this afternoon. Thank you all for spending time with us. Sorry to get to all the questions. Actually, more questions coming in. But thank you for sending those in. We appreciate that. PBS Hawaiʻi will be sending an audience survey around to all of you via email to get your feedback on today's event. The feedback helps us improve our screening. So if you have time, please offer your insight for us. Also on your screen is the QR code I mentioned earlier. Please consider a gift to PBS Hawaiʻi. Thanks to viewers like you who do that, we can continue to provide these free virtual screenings, events, and other programs. To donate, just take a picture of the QR code with your phone, and it takes you directly to the donate page on our website. Again, Adventures of Super CW makes its broadcast premiere Thursday night, 8:30 p.m. on PBS Hawaiʻi. It'll repeat Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock, but it'll also be available on our website, pbshawaiʻi.org, and our YouTube page at PBS Hawaiʻi. So on behalf of myself, Gerard, and Flash, and the rest of the team here at PBS Hawaiʻi, mahalo, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Aloha.